give me one shot here on a blue chip stock, believe me, Kevin, the only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more.
Nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in circles.
Hey, what is going on, NBA draft fans? Your boys are back. Wolves of Wall Street, favorite draft analyst. It's your dudes from the Draft Deck NBA Draft Show. My name is Corey Tulba. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Albert. Garbage time again. Albert, what's cracking, my dude?
I don't know, Corey. I feel like everything feels weird now that the draft is over. Don't know what I'm supposed to care about. Don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I started a 24 board.
Yeah.
None of it makes sense. I'm moving guys up and down and sideways. And wait, that sounds weird. But I hate it all. I don't know. But it's good to be back. I feel like we haven't done just like our pod in a long time, you know? So
I know.
This feels good. I'm excited, dude.
We did a couple of shows together as guests, but it's been a minute since we actually, because you were in New York, by way of California, and the whole schedules got all jumbled up, and then we were doing all sorts of things for No Ceilings,
right,
leading up to the draft. So it's been a minute since we just chopped it up on our show, but we're here, and we're gonna have some fun today because, like you said, the 2023 draft is over. We know where everybody landed, and we're not going to do just, your regular run-of-the-mill recap pod because that's not how we roll. We're going to have a little fun with it. And to start it out, we always talk about how important fit is with the NBA draft, right? That's what we always say. Guys got to land in the right spot. Fit is so important. But what we don't talk about enough are draft fits. And I know you're a big fashion guy. I love myself some fashion. We were in the No Ceilings group chat today, wondering why a prospect wore a certain shoe choice with his suit choice in his press conference photos. But that's not what we're going to break down. We're going to actually break down some of the fits today before we get into the main part of the show, where we're going to do a draft based on the most fun young League Pass team. So, all right, let's talk about some of the actual fits that the prospects wore on draft night. What did you think of San Antonio Spur Victor Wembanyama's fit? Went with a green suit. What were your thoughts?
First off, just love the fact that it felt like Victor really dressed for the occasion. A guy who knew that he was the star of the evening. He knew he was going to be the number one pick. He knew that all eyes were on him. And he was like, you know what? I want to come out and I want to make a statement, but I want to do it in a classy way because I'm French. And I'm not going to do it in a weird, gaudy way like Grady Dick. I'm going to come out and I want eyes to be on me. I want to be daring. I don't want to be too conventional. Like Bilal Coulibaly. But I want to, take a risk here a little bit. And I thought he did a great job. Just to start, love the color of that green. Green is an awesome color right now, super in right now. Love the rings that he went with. He's got a pinky ring and then an index ring. Looks fantastic. We talked about it during the live stream, but the necklace that he's wearing looked like the Orion's belt from Men in Black that was on the cat's collar thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool and bold and daring. And that's my thing. Like with him, it's like, he knows what people call him. They call him the alien. They call him all different types of things. And he knows that all eyes are on him. And I think he really owned it. I think he made some bold choices, but I think all of it worked. Even his suit is not a conventional suit with that jacket. Like that, it was literally all green with the pants and the coat and the shirt and everything. So I actually thought he knocked it out the park. And I was really impressed with the choices that he made.
Yeah, normally I think it could be hard when you're going color to do a full monotone.
Yeah.
But I think Vic really did a good job. I think the forest green, hunter green, the money green is a good choice, and he was able to pull it off. I think maybe the pants, maybe tailored to be fitted just slightly more. They were a little baggy, but he's 7'5", so that's probably hard to figure out. That's a lot of fabric. All right, going down. What did you think of Scoot?
Okay, so Scoot also made some choices. I thought his jacket was a little bit too audacious for me. I understand it. He had the grill going. I also thought he was a little bit too interested in showing off the grill. Like, I get it. Like,
Yeah,
to have a grill like that, all the diamonds and colors going on inside of it, you want to show it off. But it's also like one of those things where if you have something dope, I understand you want to show it off, but like, it's really, really cool when you're not doing it too much. Like, when you're subtle with it, then it's like really, really sick. And I thought like he was a little bit like, Scoot doesn't smile that much. But he was smiling a lot. Now, to his credit, he just got drafted, his childhood
exciting
dream.
time.
Yeah, it's a great time. So I'm sure he's smiling because of that. But like, part of me was like, are you smiling that much just to show off the grills? Was kind of how I felt. So I another daring choice. Did I love it? Probably not. But I respect that he shot his shot. And like we talked about on the live our live show, I love that he was smiling all night except for when Brandon Miller got taken over him and he gave him the dirtiest look. And I wrote that down in permanent marker somewhere, and I can't wait to see what that turns into.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of gaudy in like
Same.
with anything. I don't want to walk into a house that's like super bedazzled and gaudy. I don't like a suit. It almost worked for me. Like, I feel like if it was less colorful, if it was really, maybe it was just the pattern and it was, but there's like, it almost looks like Christmas tree lights.
Yeah.
And that, I just thought he took it a little too far. Our man Grady Dick definitely stole the show.
Yeah.
He definitely stole the show.
He did, Corey. You're right. I mean, like, as much as I hated it, I guess he ultimately got what he wanted, right? I'm like, you don't wear a suit like that thinking to yourself, like, I want to fly under the radar tonight. You wear a suit like that with real intention. I think he wanted to put himself out there. I think he wanted people to be like, oh, this guy's like different, or I don't know what he was thinking. Do I like it? Absolutely not. But he accomplished something, so good for him.
Again, I feel like he's almost there. Like, I actually don't hate the theme of I'm Kansas.
Sure.
And I'm going to go with Dorothy's slippers. I think that could have been dope. But the turtleneck, again, it's the monotone upper. If he would have went like black, turtleneck underneath, like straight black turtleneck underneath, to really let the jacket shine. And then I feel like the jacket needs just slight length to it, like just a little bit more length to it because the shoulders are so boxy. But the guy goes for it. I gotta respect his confidence, and I like the theme. I just don't I don't think the execution was fully there.
No, Corey, I'm right there with you. I think, like we talked about before, you don't want to be too gaudy. Like, if he had a chain with like a red slipper on it, like a really small
ruby
homage, to that'd be cool, right? Like a little like homage, nothing too crazy. But like, he was like,
maybe
you know what?
shoes, maybe even the shoes
Exactly.
that sets it off to really grab your attention.
He just gave his whole torso to the themes.
I like the idea. He really went for it. Don't think the execution's there, but everybody was talking about it. So if that's what he was going for, then he fucking crushed it. All right, our guy Taylor Hendricks went a little more subtle, tasteful, silk shirt. Went with the the inside pattern jacket from representing his family and all of the memories. You gotta respect that. It's subtle. You can't see it unless you open it up. I will say, again, I think this was a tough color to go monotone with. I think the suit is super sharp. Love the suit. Shirt, I think you need a little bit of accent to make it pop.
Mm. Mm. I agree. I feel very divided and ambivalent about like the inner linings of the jacket. Like I get it, but then
Yeah.
also like I remember Kevin Knox, and I'm just like, dear God,
Fortnite.
yeah, what a nightmare. That should have been like the absolute red flag. Like, yeah, we should have known he was gonna be terrible. But I'm with you, Corey. Like I like a lot of monotone that evening. I that hue of pink is like not my that's a personal thing.
Right.
I'm
Like
not hating
salmon.
against it. Yeah, it's like it's a little Pepto Bismol-y, a little bit salmony, a little bit like I don't know.
Childhood cough medicine.
Yes. Oh hell yeah, that shit. Um That's such a good one. Yeah, I didn't love this hue of pink, but once again, look, it's their evening. This is bigger than the prom. This is bigger than everything. They're on TV, national TV. People are seeing this, so I get it. I get it. Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. Go crazy. I liked Omax.
Yeah.
This is like pretty tasteful, unique color, helps you stand out a little bit. It's almost like a dark enough hue that in the right lighting it kind of pops with the color, but otherwise you might think it's just like a black suit. Subtle, but just a little bit of flair. I thought it was pretty tasteful.
Corey, I'm with you. I actually really like dark purple. I think it could be really tasteful. I forget their actual name for dark purple. It's like mauve or whatever. But I like it. I actually like it a lot. It looks clean too. I like that. I personally kind of like that his chain is like really subtle too. I feel like we're kind of in that day and age now where you want to be wearing really sick pieces but not with like huge logos, and like I really like that his chain is like really subtle with like a very I think the fit of the suit looks great on him. It's really good. Well done.
Yeah, really well done. Jalen Hood Schifino. I really mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going for it. Now, the one thing I'll critique is I am not a fan of the no sock look, the ankle show. I think it takes away from this whole outfit, but I like the material. I like it. Feels like I want to stand out, but I'm not going to be super obnoxious about it because it's a pretty regular cut suit, well tailored. And I like the black underneath it again, so you don't just look like a green screen here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this one.
No, Corey, I think the point that you made about the socks is really important because I understand the fit that he was going for here with the shorter pants and the no socks. However, that's not very current. That was Cam Newton 8 years ago and Dwayne Wade 8 years ago. But now you kind of want the length of the pants to be hitting a good length, and you want to be wearing socks with shoes. Kind of going back to that. Also, like, types of shoes have changed too. For a while, square toes were out. Now square toes are coming back a little bit. So I'm with you on that. Like the pants and the feet, the shoes, not so great. But once again, like I think the material of the jacket and the pants, I like that he went for something here. I if I'm upset about anything, I'm upset about the watch, just because it looks like it's a really nice watch that he added the aftermarket diamonds to, which kind of takes away from the original beauty of the watch. I think Jarris Walker did the same, which I didn't like, because I think Jarris Walker did it to a presidential Rolex, which is shocking. But I'm with you. I like that he went with the nice textures here. I like the black as well. I like bow ties. I've always liked bow ties. So yeah, I'm with you. It's just he really dropped the ball with the pants and the socks, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's skip to Keontae. He's the last guy I really wanted to hit, because this Keontae was another guy who went for it here. What'd you think of Keontae's fit?
I'm struggling with it a little bit. Because I want to hate it, but for whatever reason, I don't hate it. It's strange. First off, I like the necklace. I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks kind of pearly, but like pearls are really in right now. So that's really cool. It's just a part of me sees a couch. A part of me sees like a massage parlor robe. A part of me sees like some sort of Asian um umbrella or something. I don't know. A part of me wants to hate it. A part of me wants to like it. I'm just being left a little confused.
Yeah, so I think that part is it's like, we grew up watching Clyde wear outlandish patterns, with the Knicks, and still to this day is wearing outlandish patterns, and like sometimes you're like, that shouldn't work, but it kind of does. Now, I think the fit of the suit kind of makes him look like a little kid.
Yes, good point.
Um
He also lost weight though, Corey. I think that's part
He
of it,
did.
too.
He did. He's looking lean, which is going to be good for him on the basketball court, but maybe not for this specific segment that we're doing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there's no like clear break between the jacket and the pants.
Yeah.
What are those like outfits that girls wear that are just their shorts and their shirts at the same time?
Rompers?
Yeah, he just looks like he's wearing a giant romper.
Full extension.
Which, I mean, but I like the colors. I think the colors work. And it's like, again, I feel like it's almost there. I feel like it's like it's something Clyde would wear. Clyde just, his tailor probably knows a little bit better what works and what doesn't. This seems like this is the first outlandish thing he's really going for. And sometimes, when you take a swing, you might get a piece of it, right? But it might end up being on a pop fly to the infield. And I feel like that's where we were at, because I feel like this could have been, a deep hit, maybe, maybe out of the park. But there's just a few things that I just couldn't get behind, but I wanted to, because part of I'm like almost there. A lot of these guys were almost there, and they just couldn't land the plane.
Yep. I'm with you. It's just strange.
Yeah. All right. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into our most fun young NBA League Pass teams for this upcoming season post 2023 NBA draft. Okay. We've made it back from break, and now it's time for the fun stuff, because we are going to draft our most fun young NBA League Pass teams. We're going to try to get 5 teams each, and we'll go every other. So, Albert, I'm going to let you start it off. Who is your first League Pass team that you're excited to watch?
For me, it wasn't really difficult picking this team, just because of the already early success they've had. They have a bona fide all NBA superstar now. They've got really intriguing young pieces. They've got a player who was drafted in the top 3 last season that did not get to play, but is going to be coming back this season. They've got a guy that, friend of the program, was a top 12 pick last year, was all NBA rookie team in Jalen Williams. My pick goes to the OKC Thunder. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch that team along with who they've added, right? In Keontae Johnson. I should have started with Cason Wallace, but Cason Wallace as well. I just think that team, with the early taste of, competitive spirit and success that they've had last season, with what they've added now, and hey, free agency's opening up now, and we'll see what Presti has in mind, what he wants to add to the team, what he's looking to do. Maybe there's a trade they may be looking at. Who knows what OKC's planning? But we know that they're going to hold on to Shea. We know they're probably going to hold on to Jalen Williams and Chet and Cason Wallace. So that foursome right there is enough to push them to the top for me. I'm really, really excited to see Chet in his rookie season, what that's going to look like. I think it's freaking incredible that he's going to be coming in to play his first NBA minutes in a year where Victor Wembanyama is coming in as the number 1 pick. And I'd like to see a 2-horse race with those two kind of fighting for rookie of the year. I think that'll be crazy fun. And ESPN and SportsCenter is going to be eating that up. Just, putting those two giants against each other is what I'm really excited for. So I think I'll be watching a ton of Thunder games this season.
They were high on my list for sure. I mean, they just have so much fun young talent that it's hard for the league to catch up. I mean, again, you talked about Chet. I think that's a big thing for them. Like Chet is a guy who is potentially their number 2 option going forward next to SGA, and SGA 30 plus points per game on insane efficiency. And now he's going to have a chance to really cement himself as like a no-brainer year in, year out, like top 10 player in the NBA. Cause I think that this team is really going to compete this year in a real way. I'll be interested to see, if they make any kind of subtle moves in free agency. I'm interested to see if Ousmane Dieng can actually contribute anything this year. He offers a lot of intriguing tools that these guys value. And, we talked about how Kaysen is kind of boring all year, and because he's just good at everything, you compared him to a nice pair of scissors and broke that down in writing about him. And he's just going to be, the perfect kind of glue guy for this team that I think we're going to be like, man, why did we not have this guy top 10 all year? Like, why'd we struggle just because he was good and boring? I mean, Trey Mann still is a little bit interesting, right? I think there are guys. I mean, Poku is a wild card. So when we're talking about fun things to watch for, anything could happen with him. It feels like a make or break year for him as far as like, can this guy actually be like an NBA player? He'll probably get a chance elsewhere, even if it doesn't work out. But there's just a lot of fun things. I really like that pick, and I think they are going to be a ton of fun to watch. My first pick, second overall, I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Because one, Jarris is, he's just been our guy throughout this entire process, right? Like, he's 6'8", 7'2", connector that is like tailor-made to play basketball with a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. So for me, I love any team that's going to have Tyrese Halliburton, because Tyrese Halliburton is one of the most fun young point guards in the entire league. From a playmaking perspective, from a shooting perspective, makes all the right decisions. You add Jarris to that squad of defense, connectivity, and we get to see Jarris in an NBA context. You have Nembhard, who's another really interesting 0.5 quick decision maker with good positional size. You add Ben Shepherd to this team. I'll be interested to see if he can contribute anything. I mean, we've seen in this offense that Ben Mathurin downhill scoring threat really works. I think Shepherd, maybe not as forceful downhill stuff, but the shooting stuff, we've seen it work with Duarte. He took a little step back last year, right? But, he's a guy that certainly as a rookie, even as an old rookie, showed some stuff. So I think that's really intriguing. And then Miles Turner is still there. Maybe we get a little bit of Isaiah Wong action. I really like Indiana as just a fun up-tempo with a nice balance of offense and defense. I think this is a team that, can really, really be a good watch on a boring Tuesday night.
I love that one. I think this Indiana team is just right there at the brink of a trade. I think them bringing in Ben Shepherd is a really interesting choice, considering they have Duarte and Mathurin and Nembhard and whatever, and Buddy Hield. It just feels like something's going to happen there. I think I think it's a little unfortunate what happened with Duarte. Obviously, he came back from an injury last season, came back to a completely different team from the team that he played in his rookie season. So I think it's going to be interesting. Neesmith too, a guy that played
Mm,
better for Indiana last season.
yeah,
Um, I think they've got some intriguing pieces, and now I think they have enough
Buddy Hield.
depth. Exactly, they have enough depth there where they may swing one or two of those guys into maybe another option, right? Maybe another front court option. I'm not sure. Maybe a 4 somewhere. Maybe an Obi Toppin type of trade could be, in the, on the horizon. I don't know for sure, but it just feels like they're going to be lining up to make some sort of trade. But I love the pick, man. I mean, obviously, Halliburton's just an absolute joy to watch when he's healthy, which is important.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah.
he's going to be healthy next season a little bit more. And then, obviously, Jarris. I'll say this, Corey. And a lot of our guys I know seems like we love Bill Simmons. Been a big, huge fan. My wife knows. I saw Bill Simmons recently in person and almost had a panic attack. Didn't know what to do. Completely froze. Was at a beautiful pizza restaurant with some friends. Could not eat for 20 minutes because I couldn't compose myself. But hearing him talk about Jarris really broke my heart. I think Jarris is an interesting guy. Obviously, someone that we love so much. I think he's going to set the world on fire in the NBA, and maybe not from day one, but I think he's going to show a side of himself that people just did not get to see in Houston. And the beautiful blend of his game with the pieces that they have in Indiana, I think is going to be electric to watch. So I think this is a great pick from you, man.
Yeah, for sure. I also likewise was a little bit sad, and I was just like, Bill, I think you're missing this one, man.
Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, these things happen. These things happen. All right, you're on the board for the third pick. What direction are you going?
Okay, so for me, I'm thankful here. This was the second team on my board. I'm glad I'm able to grab them here. It's the Utah Jazz.
Mm,
I really can't wait to see what happens with this team. As a lot of people have talked about, they have a ton of cap space this offseason. What Danny Ainge, what he chooses to do with that cap space is going to be really interesting. Maybe he brings in a guy like Grant Williams. I don't know.
mm.
I don't love that either, but maybe it's, they have that relationship in Boston, not sure. But if we're talking simply about the young pieces that they have there, how can we not talk about Walker Kessler, the season that he had, his rookie
Yeah.
season that, all the talk was him being in that Gobert trade and how he played and, how he was, great next to Lauri Markkanen, a huge, important name to talk about, a guy who absolutely popped off last season. They still have Ochai Agbaji, which was a guy that we loved in the 22 draft class and is still young enough to do great things. He's still only 23 years old, and I'm really excited to see how he grows and how he develops. And then obviously the class that they just had was, in our opinion, electric, with 3 guys that we absolutely loved, with 3 guys that we both had in our top 10, which, if you were just basing it off of our 2 boards, they hit it absolutely out of the park in Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George and Bryce Sensabaugh. Like, that's an absolute electric trio to go along with what they already have. So the idea of a future front line of, Kessler, Hendricks, and Markkanen, the size, length, shooting, defensive ability that you get with that trio, and then to add the young dynamic guards and Keontae and Bryce Sensabaugh to go with an Ochai Agbaji, you can't help but be excited about what that might turn into. So Utah was the second choice for me.
It's a great pick. They would have been where I went next. And, I'd like to see them grab some kind of playmaking point guard. I would have liked them to, somehow get Tyus Jones, like end up with him. And then kind of move on from the Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, and just kind of commit to the young guys. Obviously, I still think there's opportunity for them to somehow, get a playmaker, and that's kind of what I would look for them to do in the trade market. I think that would be just a smart move to find somebody who could really facilitate, because I think we both think that Keontae has, some more playmaking ability than we thought heading into the year he got to show, but I don't trust him right now to, make plays each and every possession in an NBA game as a rookie. That's asking him a lot. I don't love Sexton as a facilitator, although he's definitely improved throughout the year, but he's a score first guy. Jordan Clarkson, microwave, score first guy. Somebody who can actually make plays each and every possession. I would love to see them get a veteran guy like that to kind of piece it together, because they're going to try to compete.
For sure.
You know, the John Collins move, Lauri Markkanen turning himself into an all-star. So just let's fit some of the pieces together a little bit, but their young guys are just so fun. I think since Danny Ainge got there, he's put on a master class on how to rebuild, and they have a million assets. So obviously, you know, good job by the Utah Jazz there. I'm just gonna, you know, do it, and I'm gonna take the Spurs here.
Okay.
You know, I definitely didn't want to, you know, go in and take the Wemby team first. But I actually think that this now is going to be seeing him in an NBA context every single day instead of just getting a taste with the G League games. I think that this is going to be a lot more fun than scouting him this year. We knew he was going to be the number 1 pick. So all the scouting we were doing was just be like, all right, this is more of a check-in, you know, like, we get it. You're still awesome. He's doing crazy stuff like shooting threes and, you know, having put back dunks. But I also really like a lot of the Spurs other young players. Mm-hmm. Like, I love Devin Vassell. And I think could have a breakout year this year. Sohan is the perfect kind of guy you want in the front court with Vic, because he could play either position. He's a great passer, and you don't have to worry about his lack of spacing, because theoretically Victor could play, you know, on the perimeter as a shooter. I love some of the other young guys that they have that we're going to get to see if they can develop. Like, I love Ceedy. You know, I think he's going to spend more time in the G League this year. But Branham, Wesley, and then, you know, you got Keldon Johnson. So there's a lot of interesting pieces on the Spurs, and obviously Victor Wembanyama, seeing what he actually does is in his rookie year now, in practice, not in theory. What is this guy going to look like? We called him the best prospect of all time, or the best prospect since LeBron. Well, what does that look like now as a rookie? Can he live up to the hype? That, I think, you know, is because if you remember that LeBron game as a rookie, like, I almost remember it clear as day, and him coming out, breakaway dunk, like, and you were like, oh yeah, all right. So this guy actually is legit. You know, is Vic going to have that moment in his first game? I mean, what is Summer League going to be like? Yeah. What is the atmosphere going to be like there for Vic? There's so many interesting storylines for him this year, now that he's actually going to be an NBA player.
Yeah. This is a great choice, Corey. That, as you mentioned, obviously the marquee name is going to be Victor Wembanyama, but you look at the team as a whole, a lot of really fun young guys, and also another team, like, who knows? Right, they may go out and get somebody. They might turn McDermott into a different asset. Also, another interesting name, Zach Collins, a guy who kind of came on. You know, had a career year last season. Healthy, started taking threes. I'm just pulling up his stats right now. He actually took 2.3 threes per game last season and shot at 37%. I mean, not gigantic volume, but still, you know, that's not nothing. A really interesting guy who, you know, really struggled with injuries when he was on the Blazers, but now, you know, he kind of came on last year, and he's always been kind of like one of those like quiet, tough guys. You know, he's like a really intense face and likes to get physical at times. So having a guy like that with Victor maybe as a backup or playing next to him, not bad. Yeah, you know, I just think they're going to be an interesting team. Really excited to see what happens there. And once again, just could be a great spot to add a veteran presence type of guy. Maybe they bring someone in to kind of help Victor, maybe not necessarily get them to be like contenders right away, but be a guy who can help really Victor really acclimate to the NBA and learning what it means to be a pro and things like that. Although he's already been a pro, but you know what I mean, like being an NBA pro and dealing with American media and all that stuff. So great choice, man. Really good.
All right. Where are you going next with your third pick?
This may be a bit of a controversial pick, but I'm picking them because I think it's just going to be fun to watch. I'm going with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Okay.
My reason for going with the Pelicans is this has been the summer of Zion for good and bad reasons, all kinds of reasons. So I think a lot of attention and eyeballs are going to be like, hey, what does Zion look like now? Also, will he be on the team start of the season? I think that'll be interesting to see. Brandon Ingram continues to be a really good player. Watching him's always going to be fun. And then you talk about the young guys. Last season, Dyson Daniels, good rookie season. I think is only going to get better. A guy that didn't get to play at all, but I think will be back with the team from injury. EJ Liddell, a guy that we loved in last year's class. Can't wait to see what he looks like. Obviously, coming back from injury, I think there's going to be a bit of an adjustment, whatever. But hopefully, he comes back healthy and plays his ass off. That'd be really fun to watch. They just drafted Jordan Hawkins with the 14th pick in this past draft. And Jordan Hawkins was one of the most electric, exciting players in his whole class. Just a ball of energy, a guy who can really shoot the ball. So obviously that's going to be fun. And then want to throw in a name here that that you like and that, I warmed up to towards the end, but Landers Nolly as well from Cincinnati. Yeah. They added him as well to their summer league team. So let's see if he can make the team as a shooter. That'd be another interesting option. Obviously, the Pelicans didn't shoot a lot of threes last season, but hopefully that changes, right? With the implementation of a Jordan Hawkins and maybe even a Nolly. And, they have Trey Murphy there. So I think they should shoot. We love that guy, Corey. I mean, you remember when he was in the draft, we freaking loved him. I think we did a pod on him, right? But we loved Trey Murphy's game. And so he's a guy that I think will continue to get better. And hopefully that staff with the Pelicans, Willie Green and them, I hope they just kind of open things up a little bit and let those guys take more threes. And I think that'll be beneficial to everybody.
Yeah, I don't remember if we did a full-on Trey Murphy pod or we had a long Trey Murphy conversation during the Zaire Williams pod where we were like trying to figure out why Zaire Williams, like we were like, we don't get it. Like just draft Trey Murphy instead. He'll do all of those things, but like good. And I think that was, the long conversation about him. I'm excited to see if Kyra Lewis can, come into the fray at all. And I think that he had moments in the G League last year. He had that unfortunate injury after his rookie year, where I believe it was a torn ACL. And they just have so many pieces. I think, Willie Green has his work cut out for him and figuring out how to manage and develop them. They're definitely a team that I think is going to have to kind of consolidate somehow eventually. But the depth, like, even if Zion or Brandon Ingram aren't healthy, they at least have, from a league pass perspective, all of the guys that you broke down. You could at least be like, hey, these guys are fun to watch. So I think that's a great pick. I actually didn't even have them on my board, but it's a great pick. All right. For my next pick, I'm going to go with Charlotte. I think anytime you can actually have, LaMelo Ball and you're ranking, teams that are going to be fun to watch. I think that there's an argument that he's got to be a guy that you have to consider near the top. He's obviously just insanely fun to watch. So we start there. They got the number 2 pick in the draft in Brandon Miller, who is an awesome guy to play alongside LaMelo Ball. 51% open catch and shoot threes. I think that he is going to be a guy that can contribute that at the very least right away. Really fun playmaking ability. Outside of those two obvious guys, I think their draft was really fun. We weren't the biggest Nick Smith Jr. fans. They got him at the end of the first round. I think he's a good bet. Him and Brandon Miller, they'll have chemistry right away. They played on the same AAU team. He's at least a fun change of pace guy. Maybe Charlotte figures they can get out of Nick Smith what they wanted to get out of James Bouknight, and they got that at the back end of the first. That's a good bet. Amari Bailey, it's a guy you scouted live, a good amount this year, and I think he's a guy that I could even foresee winning the James Bouknight, Nick Smith Jr. backup battle and finding a way to, be on the court. Good size, good skill. So I like that. James Najee in the second round, if he comes over and ends up, playing right away as a backup big man, I mean, you want him playing next to playmakers like LaMelo, like Brandon Miller, guys who could actually find him and play at a good pace, get up and down, make use of his athleticism. I love that. I think Bryce McGowan's showed some stuff last year. He's a guy that we were like, a little iffy on during the pre-draft process because we're like, what is this going to look like if he's not the best player on the team? And I still have some of those same questions, for him. But I think that at the very least, like he showed that he's going to be a scorer, in the league. And, we'll see if he can add any kind of other ancillary skills. And if he can, he's got good size. He's a good athlete and he can, definitely create his own shot. Mark Williams really came on at the end of the year in a big way and was really impactful and has locked down, that starting center position. And I think the length that he, LaMelo, and Brandon Miller offer together as a trio right away, it's a unbelievable, foundation there. Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward, if they're on the court and playing, they're veterans who know how to play. I don't think they're on the same timeline, but I think that they'll at least accentuate all the other guys. They're not going to get in the way of anybody's development. I just think that they're going to be really fun. I'm sure, our friend Gregory Castillo in the chat says JT Thor breakout. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But I just love all the pieces that they added this year as far as entertainment value goes. Yeah. And PJ Washington forgot to mention him.
Yeah, a lot of great names. A lot of great names on this team. I'm right there with you, Corey. I love the Najee thing with him just being a backup big. If he comes over, I think that would be fantastic. Just the athleticism, the length, the interior defense that you get with Williams and Najee is a really nice foundation to have, along with all the crazy skill guys that they have with Brandon Miller and LaMelo and even like Scary Terry last year, like a big part of their team. And obviously they haven't done a lot of winning, but who knows? Like maybe he plays really well and then he becomes an asset, right? Like someone that can turn into something else, maybe another young piece or another draft pick or whatever it is. So I think once again, Scary Terry, interesting option. Maybe even Gordon Hayward becomes a guy that contenders look at, toward the trade deadline, and maybe they take a shot at adding him to their team. So I think this is a great pick, Corey, just from the aspect of the young talent that they have, and also the potential to add more young talent to this team with some of their veterans. God damn it, I don't want to throw the Knicks around, but who knows, right? Now I'm like scaring myself with this idea of like the Knicks trading for Gordon Hayward. But there will be teams, contenders, that'll be looking to add those types of veterans like a Scary Terry or a Gordon Hayward. And so that's an intriguing, little wrinkle to that team as well. So good pick, man.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to everybody that is in the chat rocking with us. We appreciate everybody watching live. If you haven't yet, hit the like button and share this thing. So, and comment all of your favorite League Pass teams. All right. We have the 7th pick. You're on the clock. Who are you taking with your next pick?
All right, the next team that I'm taking is I don't think this will shock anybody, but I'm taking the Detroit Pistons. Like this one, just because want to see what happens with Asar Thompson. Obviously, he was of the Thompson twins that we preferred We liked him over Amen. Not that we didn't like Amen, or maybe I was the one who didn't like Amen to most people, but really intriguing to see what happens. Obviously, Cunningham was out last season, so to see him coming back with the Moses beard is going to be really interesting. He looks pretty rough.
I think that was Photoshopped, to be fair.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah, you got
terrible in some of those photos. No, really excited to see Cade Cunningham, a guy that I still love, guy that I think is going to be an incredible player. Jaden Ivey in year 2, Jalen Duren continuing to develop. A lot of interest. I mean, Beef Stew, maybe. James Wiseman. We'll see.
I still have property on Wiseman Island.
Same. And I think you should, because he's still freaking young. He's going to be 22 next season. So no reason to give up so early. I just like this team, and I'm excited to see they also picked up one of our guys, Marcus Sasser.
Yes.
Really excited to see Marcus Sasser as like a backup guard, and maybe he replaces the Killian Hayes minutes. And I'd be excited by that, because Marcus Sasser can shoot the shit out of the ball, is going to play really hard, good passer, going to be physical on defense. I would love that. So a lot of intriguing options on this team. Obviously, the name to watch in terms of like potential move would be like a Bojan Bogdanovic. Obviously, playoff teams are going to be sniffing around, trying to see if they can maybe grab him. Who I think he's still young enough to be. He's 34 now, so he could still contribute to a team, a playoff contender somewhere. So yeah, I think the Pistons are going to be a really fun team to watch, with the trajectory of their young guys and how they're developing.
Just so much athleticism.
Yeah.
And I love the Asar fit. Like, even if Cam Whitmore didn't have the medical concerns, I just thought that if you were going to go for wing athlete, he was the guy. He just fit so much better, because he has that connectivity as a passer that I feel like they really needed from that position, instead of like another downhill, athlete with a questionable jumper. Now Asar has a questionable jumper, and he is a downhill athlete, but like, I buy the form. I think Jaden Ivey as athletes on the wing for Cade is going to be absolutely electric. I love Jalen Duren. They have so much athleticism. I still like Wiseman. This team, I think, is going to be weird. They need to figure out some stuff as far as the front court goes, because Bagley, Wiseman, Duren, Beef Stew is just like a bunch of logjam, repetitive like skills. It just, let's trade for some kind of shooting threat. I know Cam Johnson is somebody they've been linked to, as somebody they'll throw a bag at, and I would like that. I think that would that would really help their spacing, and I think Cade is going to shoot it better this year. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he's healthy. Obviously, a lot depends on that. So, yeah, the Pistons are a great selection here. They're going to be a lot of fun. You can make an argument that they're the type of team that is, going to shoot up these rankings pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Pretty quick. All right. My next team. All right. I'm going to go with Houston.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be good here. I don't know if saying that is controversial at all. I think that there's a lot of stuff that they need to figure out. And I know that they have a lot of money to spend in free agency. And I think that, that's going to show us and tell us a lot on what this team looks like. And maybe they are going to be better, because they don't have as much incentive to lose. They're in a similar situation to the Bulls this year, where their pick is top 4 protected, or it goes to OKC. Not that this draft is, the draft that you want to absolutely tank just so you can keep a top 4 pick in this draft necessarily. So I think that they're going to try to be a little bit more competitive. I don't love how the pieces fit, though, before free agency. Obviously, like you would figure one of Amen or Cam are going to probably come off the bench. Yeah. I guess, who knows what's going to, like, are they going to just cut Kevin Porter Jr.? Are they going to keep him? I guess they don't really have it. They don't need to get off his contract. Like, because they have so much cap space already. he's obviously talented, but like he likes to dribble a lot. So obviously that's a thing that is going to be hard for them. Ime's got his work cut out for him as far as the offense. Like they just have a bunch of guys that need the ball in their hands. So like the pieces just are going to really be awkward to fit in. But I think, I wonder, like, is Cam going to beat out Tari Eason for minutes? I don't like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Like Cam falling to the 20th pick. I know it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He's a top whatever talent. But like, all right, well, now he's the 20th pick. And we don't have to worry about hypotheticals. Like, there's not as much reason to invest in him and needing him to work out as like there will be with Amen. So I would imagine that Amen is going to start. Cam will be coming off the bench. But that's going to be weird with Amen as like the small forward in this scenario, because now he's playing off ball, right? So, but the athleticism when Amen, Jalen Green, Cam are all on the floor together, it is going to be, I don't know, all time.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a 1, 2, 3 as athletic as those guys on the floor at the same time? Like they're going to be insane in transition. You add Tari, playing him as a 4 in those scenarios, crazy, right? Now, the other concerns, like obviously Şengün is super, super, super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Jabari, I still think is going to be good. He didn't shoot it well last year, but he's going to be a good shooter. His form is pretty pure, and he had some moments last year. He was a super young rookie. Mm-hmm. But both of those guys are kind of one-ish position players. Like Jabari's kind of a pure 4. Like, yeah, he could guard up, but like you don't want him doing it that often. And Şengün is kind of not mobile enough to consistently, be a 4, and you kind of want him to play center. So it makes, things a little cramped in the front court. And here's my Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green, though, is going to take a leap. And I think people are shitting on him, and it's not fair.
Yes.
Because I think every time we get like a really great shooting guard prospect and they're just like kind of inefficient bucket getters their first couple of years in the league, we're like, oh, this guy sucks. He's a loser. Until like you finally put a good team around him. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I guess he's not a loser anymore. Like we saw it with Devin Booker. We saw it with Anthony Edwards. We saw it with like even Zach LaVine. Like all of these guys, like they get into better situations. And now you're like, oh, I guess they actually have some qualities to them where they're winning players a little bit more often. They just have to get in the right scenario. And this is a tough Rocket scenario. But, I do think that it's going to be ugly at first. And, I think we forget like Ime is not, he's not going to be able to just, wave his magic wand and fix everything right away. Even that Celtics team took half the year to buy in to what he was selling. Like that was a rough Celtics team to watch that first half of the year. And that was with mature veteran guys. These are young players, we don't know how fast they'll, buy into this thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in free agency, but like at the very least they might suck, but they're going to have moments where they're really, really fun to watch.
Corey, I literally could not agree with you more about the Jalen Green stuff. People can throw around like, oh, he played on a dumpster fire. He didn't play on a dumpster fire. He played on Chernobyl. Like that was an absolute nightmare of a team that he played on for his 2 first seasons. And, this team it's a really, really young team, Corey. Some of the names that you mentioned already, but also you also have Ty Washington, a guy that was in last year's draft. They still have Garuba, like this is a crazy, crazy young team. Josh Christopher, your guy.
Oh, I love Josh Christopher. Great call.
See, exactly. Like this team, they have all these young guys, and you wonder, well, why were they not good last year? Well, I mean, look at the youth. I mean, kids suck. Like, I mean, people have to realize kids
grown
do
man
dumb
league.
things. Exactly. It takes time. I think that Jalen Green point and the you connecting him to Devin Booker was a great one, because I can easily see that with Jalen Green. Like I would not be shocked if he was on a team playing in the finals in 5 years. Like I'm not saying it is going to happen, but if it happened, would you be shocked? Hell no.
Not at all.
Like
not at
he
all.
has that much ability as a scorer and as an athlete. And once you start putting things together and he starts playing defense on a more consistent level, then you're like, oh, all right, well, that makes sense. And so look, this team, Corey, we're going to have to see what they do, who they end up adding. I think what you said about Tari Eason's really important too. Tari Eason, an unbelievable rebounder, defender. I think he's going to be a great asset. I just feel like eventually, like you said, the fit with the bigs might become a little weird, and maybe they, turn a couple of them into like a true center, like a Mark Williams type, or like a Mitchell Robinson type or whatever, because some of their bigs are a little undersized a little bit, like Şengün's like 6'9", 6'10", Garuba's like 6'8", Jabari 6'10". So adding like a real big guy would be great, I think, eventually down the line. But also this team, they shouldn't be rushing to do anything. They just added these rookies. They still have all these young players. I think they should keep playing. I think Ime coming in with, him being like a little bit of a tougher guy on his players, I think will keep the team accountable. We'll have them on a set path of development. I'm with you, man. That's a great pick. And let's see what happens. I think they just kind of have to roll the ball out there and see kind of how things go.
Yeah, 100%. All right. What direction are you going next?
This is my last pick, right? So
this is your last pick.
I kind of wavered. I had 3 teams that I was looking at, and then I ended up just going with this team because they took my favorite guy in the draft.
There it is.
Franz Wagner, a guy that we both, I'm taking the Magic here. We loved Franz, and then he just went and was like, hey, you guys liked me? Well, look at what I can do. And he just exploded in the NBA, and he's been fantastic. Paulo Banchero last season, great rookie season. Did he shoot it efficiently? No, but that's okay. He's young, and he played on a not so great team. So I'm not even a tiny bit worried about him. They still have Markelle Fultz, who played really well down the stretch at the end of the season. Yep. We're going to have to see what they do with some of these guys, because I don't feel like Cole Anthony really fits on this team anymore, because I think they're not willing to give up on Jalen Suggs yet. They have a Caleb Houston who, in college was a really good shooter, and maybe, he continues to work on his game and he just becomes an absolute sniper for that team. Gary Harris shot the ball really well last year, but I don't know if he's what's going to happen there with him. Jonathan Isaac can't stay healthy. We'll see. Yeah. And then they just had the draft that they just had. Anthony Black. We love Anthony Black, and they took him at number 6. He's going to be a rock solid defender, playmaker, a guy who is going to have to continue to work on his jump shot. People may say that, he might conflict a little bit with Markelle Fultz. So what? You can bring Anthony Black off the bench and have him be your 6th man, your 3rd guard. No problem. He's a rookie. Go ahead. Jett Howard. I've hated some of the stuff that I've seen on Jett Howard on the internet. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that he was injured last season. I love that their GM came out right after the draft and was like, people don't realize how hurt Jett Howard was. And Corey, that's something that we've heard not just from him, but we've also heard from players that know him, off the record. They've told us that he really struggled with that injury. So I am a huge believer, obviously, in Jett Howard, but even if he's not electric in year 1, I think there's a clear path for him to become a really good NBA player. And then you start getting excited about the potential of a Franz and a Banchero and a Jett and maybe a Jalen Suggs, and he just kind of plays that defensive guard role. And then what happens at point guard, and then with Anthony Black, like the length and size and versatility of that team will be interesting to see. And then they have all these centers that they got to figure out as well. So, well, not as many anymore, but still they've got Bol and Isaac and whatever.
Yeah.
So Wendell Carter too.
Wendell Carter. Yeah. I mean, a lot of pieces, a lot of stuff to figure out, but a lot of fun pieces. I don't think if we're, trying to finish our puzzle, if all the pieces are fitting together, I think, maybe with some of these guys, like I think taking Anthony Black, who I have no problem with them taking because I absolutely love him, but it's going to be hard to play him and Markelle in the backcourt together. They really do need some shooting, and obviously Jett provides that, but obviously if one of Jett or Black are going to have to come off the bench, if Markelle, Wendell, Paulo, Franz are your starters, and that's assuming, that either of them start when, maybe Jalen Suggs does take a leap this year, and, because he showed some stuff. So whatever it is, it's going to be weird. I don't necessarily know if all of it's going to work together, but you have your 2 franchise guys.
Yep.
You're hoping that you at least got your 3rd in one of these 2 guys, and possibly your 3rd and 4th. I really think Jett is going to be important here for what he can bring to this team that just absolutely loves the Michigan pipeline. I think that's something that we have to consider in our picks for the Magic going forward, considering how many Michigan guys they have on the team now. But I also think that they have some moves to make. And if they want to take a leap at a certain point, I think at the trade deadline, they have an opportunity to package some guys and kind of make a more like all-in move for somebody to, kind of help these young guys take that next step. They're going to be really, really interesting to watch going forward. So I'm excited. Let's hope that just bring the jerseys back.
Yeah.
Like just bring the 90s jerseys back, man. Like everyone's going to be happy about it. You're going to win so much goodwill, and I don't want to see orange jerseys, right? Like I don't need to just give me the classics.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see. All right. For my last pick, and I don't think that they have like the most intriguing young talent, but I'm going to take like as a whole, but I'm going to take the Portland Trailblazers because regardless of what happens with Dame, I can't wait to see Scoot on the floor. Obviously he is electric and he is one of the best young players or prospects in the league. I absolutely love Shaedon Sharpe. I can't wait to watch Sharpe and Scoot running side by side. It's going to be amazing out on the wings. I love Anthony Simons. If they keep Dame, I don't think Anthony Simons is long for the team. And I think they'll get something pretty good for him because he's really talented. Chris Murray, I've gotten to watch 2 years in a row at the college level in person. And he's, I guess, kind of boring to the naked eye, but he's also like, if you appreciate basketball, he just does so many fun little things where every time I watch him, like, what? He's just always in the right spot. Like the ball, he's getting a rebound. The ball's just finding its way to him, right? Like he's never going to do anything flashy. He's like Keegan, but he's going to be effective. I don't think he's going to be as good as Keegan is, but I think that, being a role player on this team, he's going to be able to step in as an older guy, whether rebuild or competing. And that'll be really fun. I kind of like Jabari Walker, as like a wingy guy. We'll see. I don't know how many minutes he'll get, but I Rayan Rupert, I think he's going to spend some time probably with the Rip City remix, the new G League team that the Blazers just announced, which will be fun. So obviously they're still in that weird limbo with Dame. And if they do trade Dame, they're going to get some exciting pieces to add too. And they immediately could shoot to the top of this list. And you could argue that even with just Dame or with just Scoot and Sharpe, they should have been up there regardless. So they're going to be my final pick. And pretty excited to finally see Scoot on an NBA floor and with actual NBA players and a little bit more spacing. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, great pick, man. Great pick. They're going to be a really interesting team to watch in terms of trades. Obviously, I mean, we don't even need to get into the Dame stuff. No one on planet Earth seems to know what Dame wants and whether he wants to be in Portland or he wants to go elsewhere. Dame himself probably doesn't know. What they end up doing with Jeremy Grant, whether they bring him back or not, will be interesting. I feel like the Nurkic experience has kind of run its course, and I think they're going to have to figure something out there. Obviously, Cam Reddish was a guy that they traded for, but don't know if he's a part of their future. We'll see, man. I think it's a great pick simply because of Scoot, but also Simons. And we liked Chris Murray, man. Like a lot of people didn't want to talk about Chris Murray, but we talked about him and we said how we really liked his game and we felt like he was a baller and just like a high IQ guy who can shoot the ball and scored 20 points per game in college. Like not everyone does that, regardless of fit and whatever. Like it's still good production that he showed last season and a big jump after his brother left. So I'm with you, man. Good pick.
All right. And well, that's going to do it for our draft for the most exciting League Pass teams. Thank you to everybody in the chat that is rocking with us, everybody watching live. If you are still here rocking with us, hit the thumbs up for the Draft Deck NBA Draft Show and make sure you're subscribed to the No Ceilings NBA YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on the podcast feed, make sure you give a 5-star review. That would be dope. That would help us a lot as we prepare and head into the 2024 NBA draft cycle. We have Summer League coming up. We got some more stuff that we're excited about, coming up that will be doing throughout the summer. And yeah, it's a sad time that the draft is over, but the fun thing about the draft is as soon as one ends, another cycle begins. So with that said, Albert, tell the people where they can find you on the World Wide Web.
You can find me at Alberto Gim on Twitter. You can find me at GTGNBA on Instagram. Yeah, Corey, before we go, just the 23 class was a wild one, and I had so much fun covering that with you, and I'm excited for this 24 class, man. I don't know what it's going to look like, and everyone wants to hate on it, but you never know. We don't know until they start playing and what happens. And some of these second year guys and third year guys may make a huge jump, and maybe some of these guys in the G League Ignite that people aren't super high on, maybe something clicks with them. We never know. We never know. So I'm excited.
It's going to be fun. And it's, this is going to be like, if you're into scouting, right? Like, this is what you do. It's easy to get Victor right. It's easy to be like, yeah, Scoot's awesome. Now this is where it gets exciting, because I think this is a year in which we don't know who's going to be the number one pick, and people are going to be able to, pick their guy and go to bat for their guy. And this is when the work really begins in drafts like this. So you can find me at Corey Tulaba on Twitter, NBA Draft Dude on the other socials. And again, head to NoCeilingsNBA.com for written work. We'll be still coming at you with written work throughout the summer. Maybe not every day as per usual, but definitely still a good amount. So subscribe. It's free. Get it delivered directly to your inbox. Until next time, we are out. Peace.